Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we'll be talking about the overall car market and about the topic of how car dealerships can't sell cars or trucks or whatever it might be. We're going to completely demystify what is actually happening. Before we get into this video though, as always, if you're going to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. So over the last few weeks, I have had a bunch of different types of car social media thrown at me, and there is a trend that I have noticed, and I want to talk about that trend in today's video. It is the car dealerships can't sell cars trend. And these videos, I will say, are extremely entertaining. The whole premise behind the videos is a creator will go out to different car dealerships and they'll show that the car dealerships have cars in inventory, and they'll show what the dealerships are asking for these cars. And it is crazy to see what some dealerships are asking when it comes to market adjustments and when it comes to accessory packages. Like, some dealerships asking $4,000 for nitrogen filled tires, or asking, $10,000 over MSRP for a run-of-the-mill regular commuter type car, like nothing exciting or special. It's very entertaining. And if the videos were just that, I would not have a video to make. But the reason I'm making a video is there is a conclusion that all of these creators come to at the end of their video, and that is car dealerships can't sell cars. And the thing about them saying this is it's only a half truth. It is not the full truth. And so I want to try to explain the full truth in today's video rather than the fallacy that's going around in social media. So first off, car dealerships have far more inventory today than what they had last year in terms of raw numbers. And this is because every single manufacturer has ramped up production compared to last year. Last year was not a great place when it came to new car production. This year has been far better. And so because production has increased, that means that dealerships now have access to more vehicles. But that doesn't mean that dealerships aren't selling cars. The number to actually determine what is happening is the overall sales number, and then also the day supply number of vehicles. And when you dive into these two numbers, it actually shows a completely different picture than what these, I'll just call them journalists, are showing is happening within the car industry. First off, the day supply number with new vehicles has consistently hovered in the 50-day range for pretty much the entirety of this year. So even though new car dealership inventories have continued to get bigger and bigger in terms of overall numbers, the day supply number hasn't increased. So that means that new cars are selling just as quickly as the dealerships are getting them. And I know that this might be confusing to some people because you might be like, well, why would they have more cars on their lot if they actually are selling as fast as what you're claiming? Well, here's the deal. There are more and more people jumping into the car market. And this is something that might seem counterintuitive based on everything that's happening in the economy with interest rates and also what's happened with new cars with the crazy price increases. But again, if you look at the raw numbers, then what you will find is that the overall sales figure for new car sales is going to be much higher this year compared to last year. And so, yes, there are more cars available for sale, but there are more people purchasing cars. And the thing that is interesting is as time goes on, it seems like more and more people are actually more willing to purchase new cars than used cars because the used car market is not all that appealing right now. There's just a lot of crappy used cars out there. And so again, if you look at the raw numbers, it perfectly shows this because new car sales are consistently increasing. Used car sales are pretty much flat for the year. They actually are experiencing a slight decline. There are going to be fewer used cars sold in 23 compared to 22. So basically you have this trend where more people are jumping into the new car market from the used car market, and just more people are jumping into the new car market. So this brings us back to the whole premise of this video. Car dealerships can't sell cars. And again, it's a half truth. There are certain cars that dealerships are struggling to sell. But in terms of the overall picture, dealerships are not struggling to sell cars. Dealerships are actually selling more cars today than what they sold last year in terms of the overall raw numbers. But they also happen to have more inventory available. And I would see this as just a positive overall for pretty much everyone, right? And the reason why I would see this as a positive is dealerships now have options for their customers, right? Again, if you go back a year, 2 years ago, someone goes into a dealership, it's like, hey, I want to buy this car, and it's like, we don't have an inventory. Whereas now, and this doesn't apply for every single car, but now for the most part, dealerships can go, yeah, pick a color, right? And that's something that, believe it or not, dealerships actually really like, because if you have options at their store, then the chances of you buying it at their store is much higher rather than if you don't have any options whatsoever. And then for the customers, it means you get a better deal on a car, because dealerships are going to be more willing to discount because they understand that now the customer is the most important asset, right? 2 years ago, the cars were the most important asset because nobody could get cars. But now that we're in a market where everyone can get cars, it's now the customer that's the asset, because you can buy that car at that dealership or the dealership down the road at this point. And so in final conclusion, car dealerships can sell cars. They're actually selling more cars today than they were yesterday, but this is at the decrease in overall profits on a per car basis. But overall, it's a net positive for everyone, because this means that more people are going to be buying new cars, which means that more people are going to be servicing these cars with these dealerships that they're buying these cars from. That's typically what happens, which means that dealership service department's going to generate more revenue, which means that dealerships overall are going to generate more revenue. So just because you see a video on social media that states that dealerships can't sell cars and they show a couple window stickers of extremely overpriced cars, that doesn't mean that that's what's happening in the overall car market. That might mean that those particular cars aren't selling well, right? Or what it might instead mean is that maybe, you know, the dealership has that set of cars in inventory, but they're constantly turning. Like, if these people really want to show like the true picture of everything, then what they should do is they should actually take pictures of the VIN numbers on these cars that they're claiming are not selling, and do that and go to the dealership every single week. And what they will find is, although the lineup of cars might look the same, if they go and look at the VINs, they'll find out that, wait, the VIN numbers with some of these cars are changing. Oh, so the dealership, that blue one the dealership had, they just sold it, and now they have another blue one, and then they just, you know what I mean? So things are constantly turning. Again, as someone who is going to dealerships all the time, this is what I'm seeing. Let me know what you guys think about this situation, and if you happen to be someone that's making those videos, keep it up, because again, I find them extremely entertaining. But what I will say is just do a little bit more research so that you know exactly what's happening before you make claims and make half-truths, so you can instead educate the audience on the full truth.